Hi everyone, this is a video I did on how to plan a football session in under 50 seconds using AI. I recorded this for my free school community, AI Football Skool. I'll drop the link to that in the comments below. Completely free to join, and I go live every single week talking about a football topic in relation to AI. Enjoy this video and I'll see you at the end. Welcome everyone. I didn't expect so many people to be on the call, so thank you for joining. I'm currently bobbing about just off the coast of Mallorca. The waves are really bad. I don't know what is going on, but I'm obviously on a cruise ship. So if I cut in and out, you know it's because the Wi-Fi is not the best, although it's been fairly good this trip, and I've been on a few podcasts without issues. Right, so how to plan a session in 50 seconds, I think I said, maybe less. I'm going to do a little demo of how I would plan a training session using AI. Now, the first thing to say is that AI will not replace coaches. Okay, I'm not saying use AI for everything. What AI will do though is give you a head start. Okay, it might get you something like 80% of the way there. So imagine you've got to plan a training session for this week and you're devoid of ideas. You don't have any ideas about what to teach. So you can use AI to get you from 0 to 80% in about 50 seconds or 30 seconds, however many seconds it is, does not matter. The principle is the same. Now, that's infinitely better than having to plan something from scratch, using your memory and maybe making little bits of mistakes along the way. It's infinitely better than just searching social media and get something that's not appropriate to the age and stage of your players. But also, it's better than feeling lost and maybe feeling like you're letting your players down. And I say that from experience. That's not to criticize anyone. Okay, so that's the intro. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen and I'm just going to jump into the demo, and hopefully you will be able to see this okay. Sorry, the curse of the live demo. Now I think it's this one. I'm not entirely confident if I'm being honest, but let me see if that works. So I think I'm sharing my screen now, so apologies if you just saw me for a second. Hopefully you can still see my screen. And this is Football GPT, which I'm going to use for the demo today. So if I just click go to dashboard, I'm already logged in. It takes me to this lovely dashboard. Football GPT has been an ever evolving project. I started it in December last year, and it has moved from just a chat interface to something that's more of a coach's workbench. And you'll see here there are loads of tools for coaches, players, football manager, gamers, everyone involved in the game. I'm going to take you through a couple of these tools in relation to session planning, but where I want to start is this My Profile link. Now, the problem with things like ChatGPT, as an example, and I find myself saying this a lot recently about ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is obviously a revolutionary product and it's a fantastic product. But the problem with it sometimes is that it's not really aware of your context as a coach. So it doesn't know how many years you've been coaching. It doesn't know the highest qualification level that you have. It doesn't know the age and the stage of your players. Things like that. So it has no context. So within Football GPT, what I have tried to do is just get around that limitation of an AI engine by allowing you as a coach or as a player, as a football manager gamer, or as a scout, and the other options right here, to provide your context. Now, I've already pre-filled this in. If you were to sign up to Football GPT tomorrow or today, you would get an onboarding prompt to go and fill all these details in a nice, easy manner. So what I've said is I coach under 12s. The game format that I'm currently in at the moment is 9v9 for my under 12s. I have a preferred formation of 3-4-1. I've given it my team name. I've said I've only got 4 years coaching experience. You can put here your typical training number. So if you have 16 players, you can put 16. and you can fill in your qualification level as well. So you can see here that I've highlighted all the way up to UEFA A, but you can highlight any other qualifications that you have and you want the Football GPT engine to take into consideration. So I'll just stop there and I'll just go back a little bit. So now, when Football GPT is going to give me advice and answers and plan a session for me, it's going to know that I coach under 12s. We play 9v9. My preferred formation is 3-4-1. I have 4 years coaching experience and I have these qualifications. There's a bit of a mismatch between the number of years and the qualifications, but Football GPT now knows that I am a relatively inexperienced coach in terms of experience, but I have a high level of coaching qualification. So it will try and balance all of these factors out when designing a session for me. But the last thing it's going to do is it's going to take into consideration what my priorities are. Now, you can select up to three. I've got player development, winning matches, and player enjoyment. So Football GPT is also trying to give balance in its answers in line with those coaching priorities. So you might be starting to paint a picture in your mind about how this is going to be so much more powerful in its answers and its session design when compared to something like ChatGPT or Claude, which will not understand all of these factors, at least not from the start. And you can fill in different profiles for different situations. You can fill in your squad roster if you've got your squad, and it will remember the name of your players. You can fill in your scout profile, your player profile, your football manager profile, and every other profile out there. And Football GPT then starts to build up a bit of a second brain about you, for lack of a better description. It knows what you have set your profile to, it knows your goals, it knows your challenges based on questions that you've asked it before, and it knows about you. So, what I'm trying to explain here is that context is really, really important. A lot of people use AI, and what they get back is not great. Maybe they type something like, give me a passing session for my under 12s, and they put that into something like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or Grok. And the first thing that that's going to try and do is be helpful, give you a session, but it doesn't know how many players, it doesn't know your stage as a coach, doesn't know the age and stage of your players, and all the things that the Football GPT profile allows you to provide. So when I said design a session in 50 seconds, I think it was maybe a bit of a misleading title because you do need to set your profile, and Football GPT helps you do that. But as soon as you do that, you can go to the Football GPT engine and you can give it some information. So I'm going to talk instead of typing. So hopefully you don't cut out in the audio and I don't cut out in the audio. But if I do, I'll be back in a second. Give me a passing session for this week's training. Now, I just said, give me a passing session for this week's training. It's a fairly generic prompt, a fairly generic question to ask the AI engine. So if we started the clock from when I started talking, that was maybe 5 seconds of talking. And if I hit return, what I would expect Football GPT to do, this is a live demo, so it might not, is take into consideration my profile, all the elements that I gave it as a coach. And then I would expect it to give me some focused information back around the session. So you can see here it's thinking about it. And I didn't start a timer, but maybe I should have, because I think it will give me it within the time frame that I stated earlier on. Now it's giving me all the information here. It's giving me some coaching points. It's giving me a lot of information around how to run the session, what it's consisting of. And you will see as we go, it's making a lot of references to my under 12s or my team. It might be making references to the players that I have in terms of their name. We'll let it run through and then we'll go back. But let's go back to the top. So it's basically saying, let's get a passing session on the pitch for your squad. Since you're coaching under 12s in 9v9 with your your UEFA A qualifications, we'll focus on building progressive passing skills. and moving from competence and isolation to competence and chaos. It's given me information here about the session. Now, I didn't time it, so I'll apologize if I've misled you and said it was 50 seconds and it was a little bit more or a little bit less, but you can see the principles behind what I'm trying to say here about AI and the makeup of session planning and getting you from 0 to maybe 80% straight away. I won't go through all of these in detail. What I do want to do is just go down to the bottom. I'll scroll slowly because I want to highlight some detail. So encourage your central midfielders, the four in your 3-4-1, to connect with the two wide players. Should maybe be the two in the 3-4-1. So it's a little mistake. But again, it's given me sufficient information to get me started. So this session should give your under 12s a good workout, blah, 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 which are crucial for your 3-4-1 system at Riverside FC. I'm going to skip to the bottom because it has given me some follow-on prompts, and it's given me little prompts that I can click to keep the conversation going. So how long should each phase last? How do I adapt this for fewer players? How do I progress this across multiple weeks? So Football GPT is trying to be super helpful in terms of its conversation with you. Of course, if you don't like any of these prompts to keep the conversation going, you can just type the message or you can speak like I did. It's very flexible. Before I go into the animated diagrams, important to say that you can download this as a session card, which gives you a nice PDF that you can print out or just add to your phone. You can add it to your weekly planner. So Football GPT gives you a team view, which will allow you to build a weekly session planner so you can know what you're going to be doing next week, the week after, and the week after that. And of course, Football GPT will try and help you build on the previous week into the current week and then into the next week so that your development of players is spiraled and it's layered and it builds upon each week. It uses best practice in terms of methodology and session design and also long-term player development. And also a couple of other options here. You can just copy this and paste this somewhere. You can save it as a PDF. You can share it to your coaches via, WhatsApp. You can just send them a link and they'll be able to go in and see all this information. So you only need one subscription as a team. You only need one coach really to be able to do this. And then you can send the information on to your other coaches. And the information they get is all of this. They will get access to all of these animated session plans. Now, if I scroll back up, and I'm just jumping about a little bit here, but the information that has been provided so far and the animated drills, they are based on verified sources. So going back to my Football GPT chat earlier on, that Football GPT, Claude, all of these publicly available, really powerful AI engines and tools, they will use a data source, which is really the entire internet. So they will take in FA best practices, other associations, Spanish FA, English FA, US soccer, different elements and different knowledge providers, as well as Reddit blogs, maybe some social media posts, different non-verified sources, I would describe them as, when providing its answer. Now, the reason that it does that is it tries to incorporate balance in its answer. It tries to pull in many, many sources, no matter what that source is, to provide a balanced and weighted answer. And sometimes the answer you get will be skewed because of that. It may suggest, for example, you do tactical periodization with your under sixes, which is not necessarily the best suggestion in the world, if I'm being honest. I have seen that in the past. Also, it may suggest something that's beyond the age and stage of your players. Football GPT won't do that because you filled in your profile and because it uses verified sources, and the verified sources are all of the major FAs, anyone who's been leading on player development over the last 10 to 20 years. There's a real mix of knowledge there, but there's nothing that's maybe an opinion by someone that we couldn't verify who they were, or a Reddit post, or just a social media post in general. So everything has been verified, so you're getting the best answer possible. And what you get there is highly targeted information. What is a real work in progress for Football GPT is the animated practices. I just play this, it's going to give you an animated practice. So it's saying to pass and follow. And you can see here that it might not be to the best standard yet, but this is constantly in refinement. And what this is trying to do is to just give you a visual about what the actual exercise that it has described looks like in practice. And it does try and give you sort of a good understanding of what the exercise is. It can make mistakes. There can be little artifacts and little wobbles along the way, but it's only supposed to give you an understanding and an idea of the exercise it's describing above. And it does that for every single exercise it's describing. So you can save the exercises that you like to your profile, and you can sort of ignore the ones that you don't like if you don't like them. But the animated exercises is just an interpretation of the text that's above. And I'll repeat what I said at the start, just to sum up. This is a starting point. It gets you from 0 to maybe 80% in 50 seconds. Now, if you're a time-starved coach, we've all got other jobs, we've all got family, then this is a massive time saver for you. A massive time saver. It gets you to that 80%, as I said, and then you need to use your critical judgment to fill in the remaining 20%. If it gets you to 100% and you're 100% happy with it, that's fantastic. But for me, using these tools and other tools in the market, it will get me to a point where I can then just add the little cherry on top, make the little adjustments that I need, and it will save me a massive amount of time across the week, and it will save me a massive amount of money as well. So not only can you describe what you want, you can refine it if you like. You can say, change this, change that. It will change the animated exercises, but you also get tools around session planning. So I'll not come in here. What I'll do is I'll just go back to the homepage because I think that gives a good understanding. But you can create a practice, so you can drag. This is just obviously the demo version, but you can drag the elements around. So you can create one in an old-fashioned way. You can give it a plan that you've sketched, and it will animate it for you. So you can share that with your coaches if they don't understand. I've used that many times. It's fantastic. You can even write one on a little bit of paper here and then scan it, and it will transform it into a digital session plan that you can then share with coaches. I love this one because look at the state of my writing. But the whole point of this is to save you time and save you money, as I said. And the last one I want to highlight here is the exercise adapter, because there's a lot of session plans that are out there and being shared that are maybe not a great fit for the age and stage of your players. So there's a lot of stuff that's like Barcelona Rondo or PSG finishing exercise. And if I'm coaching an under 10 team, it's probably not something that I can lift and then just implement with that team. So I've created this exercise adapter. You feed it the session plan. Either it's a digital one that you've just downloaded and you can upload, or you can take a photo of it and it will adapt it for the age and stage of your players. It will make the adaptations required so you can run that successfully with your team. So just to repeat myself, it's not just a chat interface or a chat bot, although that's massively helpful. There are other ways to create session plans that all take 50 seconds to under a minute. And that is my demo done. Let me just see if I can stop sharing my screen. Can I do that? How do I do that? There you go. So yes, demo done. Right. I'll see if there are any questions in the chat. So that was the video on how to plan a football session in under 50 seconds. Kind of flexed between 30 and 50 throughout. But yes, it's so easy these days with AI to go from nothing to about 80% ready in a short space of time. And you have to remember that AI is just a tool in the toolbox. If you misuse it or abuse it, you're going to get bad outcomes. If you learn how to use it properly, then you'll get good ones. And as I said right at the start, I'm giving away all this sauce for free in my community called AI Football Skool. The link is in the comments below, and I hope to see you there. See you in the next one.